Not necessarily speaking about or speaking to, no, go to counseling because you are dealing with the loss of your business or the closure of your business, or you are dealing with that. We're also speaking to the preparation for success in your business. So I need people and listeners out there to think of it from that. Good day, young people. Welcome to another beautiful episode of Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur. Today's episode is different from the one that I've posted before, and it's super special to me because I have someone important in the building, someone whose opinions and conversations, both personal and professional, I value. She's an MC, she's a mathematical economist by profession, she's a mental health enthusiast, and so many other things. Hi, Briga. Hi, ma'am. How are you? I am good, and thank you very much for having me. It is indeed such an honor and privilege to just come through and have meaningful conversations, like you're saying, and just get to, speak to people out there. Yeah, you look good as ever. Oh, thank you so much. You're pretty. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. So, can you introduce yourself to my audience? Because I already know you, but I think there's a certain way you'd want these people to know you. Alright, hello guys. I think it's only okay for me to say hello. Like she's already mentioned, I'm a mental health enthusiast and an aspiring activist actually in that line. Okay. And I'm also a speaker, an MC, and MC as an direct precedence for different events and especially corporate. And I've also studied economics and maths at the university, and I'm a Christian. Yes. And I value conversations and generally really love to speak to different things that affect us as individuals and as a community and a society at large. All right. Yeah. So in your enthusiasm of mental health, you established an organization, an initiative called All Things Mental Health by Briga. And I just want to understand, because you're a mathematical economist by profession. Yes. So instead of establishing a business or initiative along those lines, I don't know, maybe tutoring, why mental health? What inspired this initiative? Okay, the initiative or the vision rather stems from my own personal experiences. Okay. I want to believe that as you live life, God allows for you to go through experiences, through certain things, so that ultimately He gets to have you be the vessel, or have you be that object or that point that He uses to reach out to people and in relation to the experiences you've had. So the vision was coming from my own share of mental health issues, and I don't usually label and say I was diagnosed with depression or that I had this or that mental health issue that I was going through, but I've had my share of experience in me acknowledging and realizing that my well-being or my mental well-being has been compromised at some point. And in me dealing with that, it became an entire journey that when the Lord gave me that vision, it translated into raising awareness. It translated into speak to this issue, have a platform that addresses this issue. So it was something that was so much related to things that I'm passionate about, that is speaking, that is educating people, and in general having people aware of these issues. Okay. All right. So Briga, I called you here today so we have a conversation about mental health in small businesses. Yes. And I am quite sure that mental health in small businesses looks a bit different to mental health in other areas, whether it's in the corporate, in marriage, in anything. I want to understand from your own experiences of running a small business, what does it look like when an entrepreneur is challenged mentally? Okay, first of all, I think I would like for everyone to just generally be aware of
the fact that mental health is a state of well-being,
Okay.
in which individuals realize their capability, realize what they are able to do, realize what they can actually bring to the table, or how productive they can be. And so when you run a business, first of all, when you start a small business, it usually emanates from a place of you realizing a certain problem in the society or in the community that you like to solve.
Yeah.
You know how you start a business by just generally solving a problem by means of a business idea.
Yeah.
So we first of all need to realize that it could be in that, or what it could look like. It could come from a place of you questioning whether you are actually capable of executing the business idea, or whether you are capable of running the business itself.
Yeah.
So the moment you begin to question your capability, or you begin to rather be afraid of moving into an execution or an establishment of what your potential in business could be, then you can realize that there must be something that has happened to me that influences my thinking or how I view myself as an individual. So in small businesses, mental well-being we could associate with creativity and with productivity in you being able to run your business. And mental you not being mentally well in a small business could be associated with a lack of motivation, fear of failure, doubt, just you having even a list of excuses to attribute to why you can't start, or why you cannot maintain a business, or why you are unable to introduce even new products and services, or expand your business. It could also manifest in that we have spoken about the small business itself and how it comes to be. And it being small, it means literally all the systems of that business are run by either you as the owner, or you and just someone else. It's a small entity, which means the capacity of the entire business in its smallness is limited to the capacity of whoever is running the business. And so what that means, or what that looks like, is you are jack of all trades, basically, for that business. Yes, everything is run by you. And so you are at a risk of running or going into burnouts, fatigue, or just generally feeling like unmotivated to keep the business going, because you've literally exhausted your entire self and your entire capacity into running that business as a person. And usually those burnouts, fatigue, and all of that emanate from a place of just you pushing really hard. Not to say people shouldn't push hard to run their businesses or to do their businesses, but it comes from you overwhelming yourself with all of the work, overwhelming yourself with I need to have this done, I need to have this completed, and just overlooking the fact that you need to give yourself a little bit of rest.
Okay.
You get it? Yeah.
So I love it. I love how you explain burnouts. Burnouts looking like fatigue, looking like being unmotivated, and in most cases burnouts manifesting as physical pain. Because I know in my case, when I'm burnt out, or when I'm stressed or frustrated by how things are not going well in my small businesses, sometimes it would manifest as acne, it would manifest as chest pains, and when such things happen to us as entrepreneurs running small businesses, we barely connect, or we barely connect them to mental health. We just think, I'm not feeling well, it's just this headache troubling me. But then you just explained how you not being okay in your mind can manifest as that, as a physical thing.
The reason why I have pointed out that is because in most cases we tend to rather we are used to physical defects or physical sicknesses. So much that we are even able to label and say it's a headache, it's acne, or it's that, or it's overall body pain. We are used to that, and it's something that we can never really say. The society is stigmatizing against people who are going through, who are sick or that. It's just a norm.
It's a norm.
And we tend to deal with that because it's something that we already know. But like I'm saying, it's usually mostly a manifestation of a mental overwhelm, when your mind is overwhelmed, or that your state of thinking or your psyche is compromised. And usually we never really are able to deal with the real problem, in that it being or coming from the mind. We end up dealing with the manifestations of that, the headache or this or that. Just grab a painkiller and then you move on. Up until when now it becomes a burnout. Your mind is unable to even function, and everything shuts down. Your body shuts down, your mind shuts down, and ultimately everything else is just coming down to the ground, including your business, because of that.
All right, and then you talked about fear of failure, that us as entrepreneurs being challenged mentally can look like fear of failure, because most of the time when we hear the term mental health, or we see the word mental health, we think depression, we think anxiety, but then you just talked about how it can actually manifest as fear of failure. How do you think we can overcome that fear of failure? Because if there's something that really stops us from starting our businesses or even improving them, is fearing to fail.
First of all, the reason why I attribute fear of failure as some kind of manifestation of you not being mentally well is because you begin to realize that failure on its own is traumatic. It's traumatic in that you experience emotions that come with having been in that experience where you failed at something, especially if you've had an anticipation that this thing is going to work out. I am enthusiastic and I am zealous and I believe so much in this thing.
I'm certain it's going to work.
I'm certain it's going to work out, and then it doesn't. It's a disappointment, it's bitterness, it's anger. If all those things come to play and come through, are manifested, and then ultimately it alters your way of thinking and your way of and how you look at yourself. To put it in a better way, it changes your mindset altogether. You may be enthusiastic and aspiring entrepreneur and looking forward to establishing a business, a small business, or whatever you want to establish. But if your mindset has been altered or has been changed due to the fact that you had your set of experience in failure, you tend to hold back a lot. You tend to try to protect yourself from the situation. You tend to try to play it safe. You get it? And when you do, you only gravitate towards just holding back, and not only for you to realize at a later time in regret that I should have done that, I should have done this. And now to answer your question, in terms of overcoming your fear of failure, your mindset has been altered, and it will take you re-engineering your mind. It will take you also altering your mind towards thinking that you can actually do it. Instead of thinking of it ultimately failing, you can also think of it as it working out. I know you may be thinking of failure from that experience of having failed before. But you need to think of it from also a standpoint that what exactly caused me to fail? What was my mindset looking like at that time prior to starting that particular business that maybe ended up failing? Assess deeply into how it occurred or events leading to that. If it failed because you started at 5 instead of a 1, which means you didn't start small, then think about it as, how about I engineer myself to think about starting as small?
Yeah.
I know the bigger picture is usually the glamorous business, or it being big, or it running, and it ending up running in systems and all of that it being big.
Yeah.
But you also need to understand that you start somewhere. Train your mind to understand that there is always a starting point. I may be speaking about this and saying it as it is, and as it sounds so good to say, but it's a lot easier said than done, because I've had my own share and experience where I'm supposed to be doing 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I haven't done that because I'm thinking, I want the best of services to offer. I want the best of products.
It's not to the standard I want.
It's not to the standard. I needed to look this perfect or that. One thing I've realized is because as an aspiring entrepreneur or somebody who wants to go into business or whatever space you like to occupy, the vision itself is big.
Yeah,
it's a complete picture. It's before you come up with the concept of this cup, you already see it like this, but the entire process of making the cup itself starts with I don't know, this is clay. Starts with putting together the clay, maybe collecting the clay from wherever you're putting it together, mixing it together, putting this on the molding and everything. What we fail to realize is that we are more concerned about the end product, the finished product, so much that your mind is inclined to that finished product, and whatsoever that doesn't look like it limits you from ultimately starting.
True.
And you kind of like feel like I wanted to do this, but it didn't come out the way I wanted it, and then you feel like, what's the point?
And we fail to appreciate the process.
You fail to appreciate the process. So it takes the entire process itself over again to move out of that fear. And sometimes we don't only fear failure, we also fear the unknown.
Yeah, true.
You only have conceived the idea. You don't know what it looks like in its manifestation. You don't know what it looks like as a business and as it running. And just the fact that you have not met it before, and then you fear bringing it to establishment, it says a lot about your mental well-being. Because you cannot expect that you see a manifestation of the end product before you actually take the first step into doing that particular thing. I think I don't know if that answers
perfectly. That's perfectly answered the question. And while still there, I appreciate how sometime late last year, we had a conversation about this whole starting thing, and not starting with the standard that we had wanted.
Absolutely.
And then I told you about how I wasn't happy about how I started Church Girl, and then you're like, I'm not really happy about how I started all things mental health. And then we talked also about how sometimes we maybe start the right things at the wrong time. And then I remember you very well giving me a scripture. I think it's in a cliche. I'm not sure about the particular chapter. But when paraphrasing, the scripture says that when a farmer constantly looks at the clouds for rain to come down, they will never plant anything. They will never put anything on the ground. That's when they run and try to plant everything. So then you concluded to say that you might have not started the brand according to how you wanted it to start, but just starting is very important. That just, it does something for your business. Even how hola and expand, just the fact that you started gives you courage and motivation to even grow the brand.
And generally speaking, to that scripture, you realize that when you put seed to the ground, it's on the ground that you are expecting it to grow from. And for you to wait for it to rain before you can actually put seed to the ground, you begin to realize that how much time you would have lost to having just not acted towards putting sweep to the ground. And you begin to realize that had I put seed to the ground, and when it actually does rain, it starts the process of germination and it growing into that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is fear will hold you back from doing what you really need to do. And it's a mental thing. It's a mindset thing. You need to re-engineer your mind towards thinking, let me do it anyway.
Yeah.
I have nothing to lose. Yeah.
I've got nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've talked about fear of failure at length, and I think we've fairly addressed it.
Yeah.
Now, I want us to talk about what therapy can look like in business. When we see the term mental health, we are thinking therapy.
Yeah.
And I think I want to appreciate how you mental health enthusiasts as well as psychologists and psychiatrists on social media have done a good job with eliminating the stigma that was attached to therapy.
It's not yet eliminated.
Not completely.
Work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have done a good job. Even in the church, I think you guys have done a good job in trying to show us Christians that therapy doesn't eliminate God.
It's God's idea.
It's God's idea. Yeah, that the fact that you go to therapy doesn't mean you doubt God's counsel, right?
Yeah.
So when talking about therapy, I want you to kind of show us how
what that looks like in
in business, and how entrepreneurs can successfully take advantage of it.
All right. When you speak of therapy from my standpoint, it's one of ways to find healing. And we would speak of coping mechanisms, we would speak of some of the things that we put in place to deal with all our mental limitations, right? And so from a business standpoint, or speaking to people who are running businesses or who are just generally have establishment, we can look at it like some kind of accountability. Having a relationship with somebody that you talk to and they help you process your experiences in business is some kind of structure of accountability. It's the same as, you know how you look up to people who are already far ahead of you in business, and you refer to those as mentors. It's the same. What you do with your mentor, you probably have conversations on a daily or however many times you have conversations. You have conversations surrounding whatsoever they're mentoring or area that they are mentoring you in, and you begin to realize that it's a conversation of generally processing your experiences. So in business, what I like to say is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a professional therapist or somebody who's gone to school to become a therapist or a counselor. It can be a mentor. It can be somebody that you are in partnership with. It can be generally a platform, or create a space for yourself where you have conversation, where you exchange in attempts to process your experiences in business. And the reason why I say experiences is because you notice it's either a good experience or a bad experience. And I would like to speak to both, because when we speak therapy from our mental health platforms, people are already thinking,
you're going to therapy because you're not well.
Or they're already thinking they're going to therapy because there's something that they are dealing with.
Something's wrong.
Literally, you can be dealing with anything. Experience is experience, either good or bad. Even in business, you need to have that platform or create a space for yourself where you process experiences. Either being my business has failed, or I have little support, or I don't have resources and I'm kind of like not taking it well because the services I provide, this is the feedback I got from the customers. Or my business is going well, I'm succeeding in this and that. I've introduced this product, I'm looking forward to this. Growth. And growth is something that it's in stages. This stage you have experienced. When you move on to the next stage, it's a stage you haven't experienced yet. And you realize you need preparation for that.
You
need to process whatever experience that has happened before, as much as you need to process what success in your business is gonna look like.
Yeah.
So when we're speaking about therapy, we're not necessarily speaking about or speaking to go to counseling because you are dealing with the loss of your business or the closure of your business, or you are dealing with that. We're also speaking to the preparation for success in your business. So I need people and listeners out there to think of it from that standpoint. And it's just one of the ways that you can actually deal with your mental space, deal with whatsoever you may be going through. And by going through, I don't mean the bad. I mean both, that you may be going through the success, or you may be going through it failing, or you having a difficult time in different things in your business.
So the understanding I'm getting from that is that we don't have to wait for a breakdown to access therapy. And therapy is not only for when you are not okay. We need therapy to prepare for success as well. All right. You've talked about what mental health challenges look like in small businesses. You have talked about how we can overcome fear. You've talked about therapy. And now I need you to talk about how to strike a balance. Because when we started this, you said small businesses are run by their owners solely most of the time. You don't have any sort of help. You're in charge of accounting, marketing, the production, everything. So there's a time where you are not fine and you need to take a break from the business. But by you taking a break from the business, it means somehow the business operations stop as well. I want you to teach us about how we can strike a balance between taking a break to deal with our mental challenges and the business continuing.
All right. I may have attributed to a small business having to be the owner running the systems, but it doesn't nullify. If maybe you listeners can refer back to the previous episode, we've spoken about partnership. Okay, now to answer your question, I believe it takes intentionality. You don't want to find yourself in a space where there are two things. You can either work yourself, burn yourself out till you are ineffective and now you have to close down your business, or be intentional about taking breaks, resting, forming relationships so much that such that when you need some time out, there's always somebody coming in to step in for you, or somebody being able to run the business with you, whilst you understand, they have that understanding, and also that you have given yourself the chance and opportunity to rest. And speaking of having somebody who can actually step in and be with you, I feel like we need to move into spaces where we understand that taking some time out to rest is reason enough to just leave and go and attend to that. And one thing that we fail to realize as small business owners is that you being there all the time and having to do everything so much that when you are away, the business is almost failing, and we can almost feel that you are not there. Doesn't say you are really in tune with your vision. It says there's some kind of compromise over your leadership. Because I feel like proper leadership as a young business owner or as a small business owner, that as you are leading some people who are helping you out in your business, can either be even your employees. A good leadership can be attributed to the ability of the business to continue running even in your absence, and not where a situation where you are, when you are not there, you can actually feel that you are not there. You know you are doing the right thing when the business can still run when you are not there. And it actually helps your sanity as well when you are away, to know your business is in the right hands and it's still moving in the way that you would have loved for it to go. It contributes even to your rest. So intentionality, taking some time out, rest, know those things that tickle you, that keep you in check of your energy, and rejuvenation that rejuvenates you and help you keep moving.
So that's just how we strike the balance.
Yes.
Okay, now I want to ask you, have you ever rejected a gig? Or a gig, an MC gig, because you're not okay?
Yes. Yes, and I want to believe it's absolutely okay. At that time, I didn't understand, or that I didn't know it was actually okay to just be able to just say no because you're not in the right headspace. But I want to believe the point of this question or an opening up of this conversation is to just highlight that it is indeed something that really affects the smooth moving of the business, or the productivity, or even the monies that you like to bring in. Rejecting a gig because I'm not okay is one of the things that I think it's okay to do when you realize that it's important for me to uphold the image of my brand as it is, the excellence that comes with me being effective and doing what I do best. When I'm in the right headspace. You can imagine if I would just force things to just go and work whilst I'm not in the right headspace, what that could do to my brand and what I stand for and what I value in a business. The other thing that I need you listeners to realize is that taking care of yourself is important. Being aware of your mental well-being is important, and generally knowing and acknowledging that I am not okay, it's very important. It helps you track how your brand goes, the vibe. There's a vibe that your brand or that your business presents. But if you're not okay, which is okay, you just need to know that taking care of yourself is really important in that regard.
Yeah. All right, ma'am, you've done this topic justice. I think you've unpacked it in a way that I didn't expect, in the not so obvious, not so cliche things. And I really appreciate that. So what are your last words to the listeners, and especially people who aspire to get into small businesses, or people who aspire to be entrepreneurs, those who have not started yet? Because I feel like Babasa Zimbabwe established through the experiences, they've overcome things like fear of failure and what we just talked about. So what can you say to those who are aspiring?
Okay. Well, what I can say is I'm most probably going to speak from a place of having been there and still there, and from a place of also being an aspiring entrepreneur. What I would say is self-awareness is important. Self-awareness is important in that you need to be intentional with a journey of finding out who you really are. Because it becomes a lot easier to turn passion into a business if you really know what your passion is. And that comes from a place of I know myself, I know what I'm passionate about. And what you know about yourself is not only limited to the things you like. It goes all the way into knowing your times and your seasons, whether to start or not. And I'm not even talking about you not starting because you have a list of excuses not to start. You may genuinely, have no resources at that time, or just generally not ready to start. But I'm talking about knowing your mental capacity, whether you are capacitated in that season to execute and start, or execute that business idea or start that business. So self-awareness is very important. I would encourage people to pursue themselves. Pursue who you are, pursue what tickles you, what makes you happy, pursue those things, because ultimately your knowledge about that is a powerful weapon you can use to run your business, to know when to expand and to know when to stop. It will help you and help you go a long way. And then the other thing that I'd like to say is it will work out.
Yeah, eventually.
It'll work out.
It'll work out.
Honestly, it's just start. You have nothing to lose. And it may sound a lot easier to say, but the reason why I'm saying it'll work out is because that's a line actually. I was listening to a podcast in the morning, and that's the line that I remember really stuck with me. It will work out. You don't necessarily have to think too much about it, think a lot into it. It will just work out.
It will.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was it from Bridget talking to us about mental health in small businesses. I hope that you guys have learned as much as I have. Like I already said, she has unpacked this topic in such a way that I did not expect, and I'm so happy, I'm so content about what she just did. Let us go take care of ourselves. Let us go be intentional, like she already said. Let us go and just start and hope that our businesses will work out. All right, so where on social media can we find you, and how can people access your services?
All right, two things. I have that All Things Mental Health initiative, and I'm also a brand from which I operate as an MC, as a speaker, and also as an aspiring entrepreneur.
And a voiceover artist.
A voiceover artist, yes. So you can on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Bridget _Bokang for the brand as an MC, and then as for the All Things Mental Health initiative is ATMH _with_Briga.
Okay.
Also, I have a podcast that when I did launch the initiative, I launched, and we still don't have content rolled out in, but we are really working, my team and I, to put everything together so that
we can expect the podcast to come back soon.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, absolutely. This year there is episodes that we're going to be releasing, and please, it's going to be epic, it's going to be amazing. So it's there on Anchor FM. You can also access it on Google Podcasts. It's there on Spotify. It's also there on Apple Podcasts and several other podcast platforms that I think we can always share on Facebook. You can also just check out my social media platforms so that you can just have that information.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of events do you MC?
This year one of the goals is to go strictly corporate, but I'm still open to even social events, your weddings, your parties, your graduation celebrations, corporate, your seminars, your milestone celebrations, your launches, your book launches, just several events. If it's an event, I want to believe, I totally believe that it's we can work around it.
All right. Yeah. Okay guys, that's it from Briga. Make sure to visit her social media pages on Instagram and Facebook, and please book her. She's an amazing MC. I've seen her. She's amazing. She knows what she's doing. So from myself, Briga, and the rest of Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur team, thank you.